Alrighty, now let's head over to the Thursday night game from last night. Jets at the Colts, and it started to be a really close game, 7-7. Trevor Siemian taking them down the field and making some real great throws. 26 yards to Elijah Moore, and then throwing to Elijah Moore 19 yards on the very next play for the touchdown. The rookie wide receiver getting it done, and they made it 7-7, but then Mike White gets knocked out of the game. They have to bring in Josh Johnson, and the game started to kind of get out of whack a little bit. The Colts just kept scoring and scoring and scoring. I mean, look at these drives by the Colts, folks. First drive, touchdown. Second drive, touchdown. Third drive, touchdown. Fourth drive, touchdown. Then we're at halftime. Every single drive in the first half, a touchdown. And we've seen that a couple of times this season, maybe only once. The Chiefs, we talk about it all the time, scored on every single possession a touchdown besides the interception. So the Colts offense was really, really great in the first half. And why was it really, really great? Because of the running game. And this is what the Colts should have been all season long, more of a run-dominant team out here. Jonathan Taylor, 19 rushes for 172 yards, broke one big for the touchdown. He had 2 touchdowns as well. Nyheim Hines, 6 carries for 74 yards and a touchdown, broke one for like 30 yards. He got the team going scoring-wise. 34 yards was the first touchdown for the Colts. They go up 7-0. And then no Marlon Mack this game. A healthy scratch. But once again, this Colts team, the best thing about it is their running game. That's why we didn't really want to see them trade Marlon Mack, and that's why we're still glad Marlon Mack is on the squad. But we want to see really this Colts team be a run-heavy team. They've got the line for it. I mean, did you see the line last night? I mean, they were getting so much push. I mean, Jonathan Taylor averaged 9 yards a carry. Nyheim Hines averaged 12 yards a carry. I mean, what more do you want? Running back by committee over 250-ish yards, average, about 10 yards a rush every time they wanted. So this is what we want to see out of the Colts offense more consistently. Running the ball, chewing up the clock, controlling the game, and keeping the ball out of Carson Wentz's hands because he makes some bad throws. He kind of aired it out a couple of times this game, at least once. And it should have been picked. It fell incomplete, luckily, but that's just what we get from Carson Wentz. We really need to start thinking about Carson Wentz as a game manager, a potential above-average game manager. But to do that, you need to run a little bit more consistently and a little bit more aggressively out here. We had, 25 rushes officially by running backs here. Carson Wentz took off 4 times as well. So I just want to see more rushes here with this Colts team, get a little bit more creative in the offensive play calling, and start utilizing all 3 backs in one game. You've got them. Let's use them. Obviously, the Colts teams rarely kind of stick with 3 great running backs. The Ravens did it last season, but what happened in this offseason? They trade one of them. Mark Ingram, you're out of here. And then they're back to only having 2. So, this is the year just to kind of use the running backs over and over and over again because you're most likely not going to keep all 3 next season, so just use what you got. People love to just use up running backs and then throw them to the dumpster, so why are the Colts not doing it here? So we'll see if this Colts team changes anything. This Colts team doesn't really change anything in our mind after the win. They blew out the Jets. Congratulations. I mean, this was one of the easier games of the Colts schedule, and it took their starting quarterback getting knocked out of the game for y'all to really kind of blow open the lead. So, we'll see what the Colts are going to be doing for the rest of the season here. They're on Hard Knocks. That's starting in a couple of weeks here. Hard Knocks in season with the Colts. It should be interesting to see, what everybody's saying. We loved seeing the Cowboys in Hard Knocks in the preseason, and now we're getting a Hard Knocks in season special of the Colts. So we'll see how their operation is kind of working from the inside, what their offense mentality and mantra is all about, what is the team collective looking like and all that. So it's going to be a nice inside look when that starts, and we will definitely start breaking that down on a weekly basis once those episodes come out like we did in the offseason with the Cowboys Hard Knocks. But I really just want to see the rushes going at it. This is the best part of this Colts team. Carson Wentz is good. He's good, but he doesn't win you the game so far for the Colts. So Carson Wentz goes 22 of 30 for 272 yards. Let's get that completion percentage up. 22 of 30. We get 73% completion percentage, 272 yards. Wasn't dinking and dunking on 22 completions, so all that was good. This was Carson Wentz's maybe best game, but once again, it came against the Jets defense. So this Jets defense, I mean, they were giving up everything. The passing, the running game, getting exposed truly by the running game, and the Colts took advantage on every single drive here in the first half, so we give them credit. 3 touchdowns for Carson Wentz, no interceptions. They didn't lose any fumbles. We had Jonathan Taylor fumbled once, Michael Pittman Jr. fumbled once, and no problem, never lost any, so didn't turn over the ball. That was good. And then in the second half, they were still putting up points on the board, not as kind of consistently as they did in the first half. They went first drive, they took it all the way down to the Jets' 2-yard line, 4th and goal, they couldn't get it. Why not be aggressive? You're up 18 points. Yeah, you don't need the 3 there. So I've got no problem with the play here, and then they just try to have Jonathan Taylor direct snap, and that's, once again, who are you trusting on 4th and 2, something like that? We're going to trust our running backs. 4th and goal from the 2, they trust their running back, Jonathan Taylor, direct snap. We don't even want Carson Wentz handling the ball there. Then they go down and score a touchdown off of a big ol' run here by Nyheim Hines to kind of get them into great territory. So once again, the running game really setting up a lot of these kind of scores and great field position. They scored a touchdown on the next drive as well, 78 yards for Jonathan Taylor. Once again, really kind of icing it out, and they their largest lead was 42-10. And then we get the Jets to come back, and their comeback was okay overall. We're not going to put that much weight into it because, you know, in garbage time, we don't really care what you do in garbage time unless you come back and win the game. Then we will kind of count that highly of you coming back. But if you try to come back and you still lose by 15, we're not going to count these 3 drives as that impressive. You were already down 42-10. The Colts defense is just trying not to give up the big play. I mean, we had an 8-play drive, 75 yards that chewed off 3 minutes, a 12-play, 66-yard drive that chewed off 5 minutes, and a 16-play, 70-yard, 4.5-minute drive. That's the 3 touchdowns that the Jets had to kind of make it a little bit more competitive in the final box score. But the Colts defense just didn't want to give up the big play. 12 plays, 16 plays, 8 plays, driving the field. So that was good by the Jets to kind of dink and dunk their way down the field. But once again, they lose by 15 points. Nothing really great there. Who did Carson Wentz throw the ball to? Michael Pittman Jr., 5 catches for 64 yards, a touchdown. Zach Poshko, 4 catches, 58 yards. Finally starting to really utilize these receivers out here. No T.Y. Hilton, and he's going to his other kind of good wide receivers here, Michael Pittman and Zach Poshko. And then Nyheim Hines, the 3rd leading receiver, 4 catches for 34 yards. Mo Alley-Cox, 1 catch, 28 yards. Jonathan Taylor, 2 catches, 28 yards. We had Kalen Granson, 1 catch, 27 yards, and Ashton Doolin, 2 catches for 23 yards as well. So Carson Wentz going to his primary receiver, spreading the ball around everywhere else, and it was a good overall game by the Colts. But once again, at home against the Jets, are we supposed to start buying this Colts team now that they beat the Jets? No. The running game was great. The running game here for the Colts was absolutely great. That's the best thing about the Colts, folks. All right, and then the Jets now. Truly unfortunate for Mike White. Drove the ball down the field right there. Really on both the drives. The first drive, they were kind of going good, picked up a couple of first down, and then the drive just stalled there on 3rd and 6. Unfortunately, they have to punt. But then the very next drive, 10 plays, 75 yards, 3.5 minutes off the clock, going to Elijah Moore, the rookie wide receiver, and Mike White putting it right on the money a couple of times, and they put up 7-7. And who knows how this game would have went if Mike White was still out there, because Josh Johnson struggled a little bit to kind of move the ball, at least in the first half. And then, you know, in the start of the second half as well, 2 straight punting drives, 5 plays, 7 yards punt, 5 plays, 5 yards punt. And these are actually 3 and outs, I believe, because they add a couple of extra plays in here because of penalties and all that. So they count those as plays, but either way, kind of 3-and-outs there by Josh Johnson, not able to move the ball and pick up the first downs. And you definitely got to do that, especially when you're down big, down bad, because the Colts, like we said, were having their way every single drive in the first half. Touchdown, no problem. Moving the ball, running. And then the running game opens up the passing game, obviously, because they're trying to stop getting gouged after getting gouged. And that leaves open the passing game for Carson Wentz. So, Mike White, he went 7 of 11, folks. 7 of 11. 63% completion percentage, real solid. 95 yards, a touchdown. Didn't turn over the ball. Tied up the game. Fantastic. And then he gets knocked out. Wrist injury, forearm injury, I think they officially classified it as. But unfortunately, had to kind of leave the game. And that brings in Josh Johnson. And, took a little bit to get going. But, he got it going in kind of the end of the third quarter, start of the fourth quarter. Garbage time, because they were already down 42-0 or 42-10, excuse me. That's a big blowout, folks. Big old blowout. So Josh Johnson goes 27 of 41. We get 65% completion percentage, 317 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. The pick, unfortunately, real bad. The Jets had a chance to kind of backdoor cover the +10. Unfortunately, first and goal from the 7-yard line, he throws an interception, and it was really his fault. Yes. So the one interception there would have made it a one-possession game. They get the onside kick, potentially recover, potentially tie, potentially go into overtime, potentially win in overtime, and that would have been classic Colts, right? Just blowing a lead, blowing a game that they should have won. That would have been classic. All right, running the ball wise, Michael Carter, 13 carries for 49 yards. Not the greatest, average 3.8 yards a carry, but, probably should have you can't run the ball because he got down. So Jets were in a tough spot here. We don't have our kind of starting quarterback in Mike White. And then, you can't really get the ball going on the ground because you're down big, bad, down 18 points going into halftime, down 3 scores. Can you really afford to run the ball here? Can't really afford to make any mistakes on defense if you're just going to run the ball in the second half down by 18, because once that Colts team scores another touchdown, and you've got to, once again, go to the passing game because now you're probably down again 3 scores, 4 scores, whatever it is. All right, and then who was Josh Johnson and Mike White throwing to this game? Elijah Moore, leading receiver, 7 catches for 84 yards and 2 touchdowns. Keelan Cole, 5 catches, 66 yards. Jeff Smith, 3 catches, 40 yards. Who is Jeff Smith? Is this man a tight end? Wide receiver. Never heard of this man, but still going to his wide receivers. Ty Johnson, 2 catches for 40 yards. Jamison Crowder, 5 catches, 38 yards. Tyler Kroft, 2 catches, 38 yards. Michael Carter, 1 catch for 37 yards. Ryan Griffin, 4 catches, 28 yards, a touchdown. Denzel Mims, 1 catch, 20 yards. And Trayvon Wesco, 2 catches for 16 yards. So this is real promising as well if you're the Jets, going to your wide receivers, going to your weapons. Unfortunately, no Corey Davis last night, how would have that impacted the game as well of having that really great A1 tier 1 wide receiver out there. But this is real good of these backup second and third string quarterbacks not just dinking and dunking to their running backs. Their 3 leading wide receivers were all actual wide receivers. They're good pieces. Number 1 and number 2, they had the most targets, 8 targets. So, but between Elijah Moore and Keelan Cole, they got it done here. So that's big props here to these Jets quarterbacks of trying and going to their weapons, not being afraid of the spot. Now, Josh Johnson coming in and looking good when he was kind of putting those touchdown drives together when everything started to click there. So overall, it was a good night by this Jets team offensively, just to kind of show, hey, whichever quarterback we have out there, they're able to get it done. And now that kind of comes into question, what's going on with Zach Wilson? Zach Wilson has not looked as good as Mike White did last week and what Josh Johnson was looking like when everything was kind of going right. If we just take the score out of it, in Josh Johnson on those 3 straight touchdown drives at the end of the game, I mean, that was moving the ball. That was good, and we haven't really seen that by Zach Wilson. So now, what do we do with Zach Wilson after the game? Let's go to this one first. After the game, Robert Saleh on Josh Johnson's performance filling in for Mike White, who was filling in for Zach Wilson, said, quote, "Josh, I thought he did an awesome job coming in, ran the offense exactly how it's supposed to be run." And Mike White ran the offense exactly how it's supposed to be run last week. That's why he threw for over 400 yards. That's why they won the game. So out of the 3 quarterbacks that they've had, has Zach Wilson ever ran the offense exactly how it's supposed to be ran? So now we've got this quarterback kind of controversy right here. Mike White obviously at the top, then maybe Josh Johnson, but what do we do with Zach Wilson? Do you go back to Zach Wilson? Do you go with Zach Wilson as your main man, giving what you just saw from Mike White? Is Mike White the real deal? Once again, truly unfortunate that we couldn't really confirm that last night because he went down really early in this game, but before he went down, went on the touchdown drive and tied up the game. That was looking real promising. So unfortunate injury by Mike White. Maybe we will know. Maybe Robert Saleh will be like, you know what, we will go with Mike White instead of Zach Wilson. We'll let Zach Wilson kind of continue to learn because we really haven't gotten anything great out of Zach Wilson. And the glimpse and a quarter, I should say, that we got from Mike White, it was looking real promising. So Robert Saleh praising the second and third string quarterback, saying they're running the offense exactly how it's supposed to be ran. Has he said that about Zach Wilson so far this season? I don't know. I don't think so. And then Mike White, he's ready for the opportunity if it comes again. Mike White on the arm injury says, quote, "We'll be fine and I'll be able to play again if my number's called." So he's like, hey, I'm here if y'all need me, guys. You know, if you don't want to go back to Zach Wilson, hey, I'm here. Once I'm good to go with my arm injury, hey, I'm still here. I want to ball out. I want to prove that I can be the starter here in this league. And it's going to be, you know, it's well done by Mike White. Now there's a lot of intrigue in the man. So, you know, come next season when a team's looking for a quarterback or a backup quarterback or looking for somebody to push a rookie or another quarterback in a quarterback competition in the offseason, Mike White could get a call, and you know the Jets could capitalize on getting a draft pick out of him. Probably, obviously not a first round pick, maybe not even a second round pick, maybe not even a third round pick, but a solid maybe 4th, 5th, 6th round pick for Mike White. So a lot of decisions, a lot of options here for the Jets. And once again, it's going to come down to Robert Saleh. What is this man all about as a head coach? Can he get it done? Is he making the right decisions and all that? It's the job of the head coach, folks. Do you go back to the rookie that you just drafted, or do you go back to a quarterback that has proven results in this league? It's going to be tough. We'll see what Robert Saleh decides to do. And then on the flip side here of the Colts, Frank Reich on Carson Wentz's big Thursday night said, quote, "Carson Wentz was freaking flawless tonight. Flawless." Alrighty, we get Carson Wentz's best game because of the running game had its best game. Is this the Colts' best running game right here? Let's look up what this Colts team has been doing. Running the ball here this season, comparing it to what they did this season, and if that's the or what they did last night, and seeing if that's the reason why they won was because of the running attack. So, alrighty, let's see how many carries they had in this game quickly. And then I want to read these Frank Reich quotes, but is Carson Wentz's best game all set up because of the rush? Let's see what these official numbers are. So here we go. Total rushes. We get total rushes anywhere? Is it updated on this website now? Okay, yeah. Yes, here we go. All right. So how many rushes overall did they have? They had 30 rushes. All righty. How many times have they had 30 or more rushes this season? They rushed 30 times week 1 and lost. Unfortunately, they lose 28-16. They had 30 rushes for 113 yards. Then in week 4, they had 33 rushes for 139 yards, and they beat the Dolphins by 10. Then they had 33 rushes again in week 7 against the 49ers for 148 yards, and they had 30 rushes last night for 260 yards. Absolutely their best rushing attack, and they win. So 4 games of 30 or more rushes, and they go 3-1 in that span, and they probably would have went 4-0, but the first game was the first game of the season. That was their loss. So if you run the ball a lot here with the Colts team, they win. Correlation, causation, folks. I'm saying it's Causation. You run the ball with this Colts team, you win, because that's the best thing about it. And then once again, the yards, 260 yards rushing, the most by far. Their second most rushing yards in a game was 174, and that was against the Texans, and they win that game. Causation, correlation, folks. I'm saying causation. You run the ball, you make the running a priority. We know it works, and that wins you the game. Colts should become a power running game, like with Derrick Henry, 28, 33, 35 rushes a game, making that your staple, setting up the play action. You can do so much offensively once the running game gets going, especially when you got three great running backs that are all interchangeable and coming in every other snap, fresh legs, and that's why you make the defense pay, because you're rotating your running backs with fresh legs, while the defense is like, man, we're sucking wind out here. And then that just opens up the screen game, the wide receiver screen game as well, the play action game, which helps out Carson Wentz. So Colts, please start becoming a run dominant team and stop looking to kind of not play Marlon Mack. Just play all three of them. You've got nothing to lose. Do or die this year with your running backs, and then maybe trade one this offseason. I would still keep the three, but we know teams don't keep three really great running backs, folks. They just don't. You sign me up as a head coach, I'm getting three running backs, and I'm a powerhouse running team. I'll keep four running backs. Shit. I'm signing every single running back. I'll have 5 running backs deep, and we will just run and run and run and run and run and run. Fresh leg, screen, and we're running, folks. So that's what I want this Colts team to be, folks. Look at all these great performances. When they ran the ball 18 times, they lose by 11. Or 9, but it's still a loss. When they run the ball 20 times, they lose by 3 to the Titans, unfortunately, last week. So you run the ball a lot, you win the game. How hard is that? Colts, figure it out. Figure it out. Get the ball out of Carson Wentz's hand and into the running back's hands. Look at these attempts. When they beat the Texans, Carson Wentz threw the ball 20 times. When they beat the 49ers, Carson Wentz only threw the ball 26 times. Last night, they only threw the ball 30 times. Those were his 3 lowest totals, folks, and they all resulted into wins. When Carson Wentz throws the ball 51 times against the Titans, they lose. When he throws the ball 37 times against the Titans, they lose. Why did you do the same game plan over and over again against the same team? You're going to lose. So start running the ball more. 260 yards last night, folks. Absolutely fantastic. 3 touchdowns as well. They can score while running the ball. We know this. All right, now let's see what Frank Reich has to say about this great, flawless performance by Carson Wentz. And I don't know if I would call this flawless. He has 8 incompletions. We'll see those. Maybe we'll watch those on a Thursday film study or something. We'll see. Or a Wednesday film study. Getting our days mixed up. All right, so let's read what Frank Reich has to say. We got a lot of quotes here. I just want to see the Frank Reich ones. All right, here we go. Wentz took the brunt of the blame for the Titans' loss due to 2 late turnovers. Once again, Carson Wentz doesn't get it done in the clutch. Rely on the running game. They do get it done in the clutch. Run, Colts, run. Wentz took the brunt of the blame for the Titans' loss due to 2 late turnovers. On Thursday, he shared in the spotlight with Taylor as Wentz turned in a 22 of 30 night, passing for 272 yards and 3 touchdowns with no interceptions. He also had a 134.3 quarterback rating that we absolutely care 0 about. We hold quarterback ratings QBR weight 0. We do not factor that in. I do not care what your algorithm says about his passing. I will be my own algorithm. That's why we go into our Wednesday film studies to see what these passes are looking like and if they're on the receivers or the quarterbacks and stuff like that. I don't care about QBR. Quote here by Frank Reich, Carson Wentz was freaking flawless tonight. Flawless. Complete command of the offense today. He played really good football. So is this just a start for this Colts team? Are we wrong of selling the Colts real early on? Did they just need a couple of games under their belt with a new quarterback to get everything acclimated? Or is it truly just a rushing team? I'm putting my money on that it should just be a rushing team. I mean, once, like we said, these last 2 seasons here for the Colts, they've just been a plug-and-play quarterback away. Philip Phillip Rivers last year. That's a perfect plug-and-play quarterback. We thought Carson Wentz could be a perfect plug-and-play quarterback, but their record so far, a little lackluster for what this team really has on their roster talent-wise, especially at the running back position. They had Jonathan Taylor, Nyheim Hines, and Marlon Mack, folks. One was a little banged up last season, but overall they still had those three great talents, and now they are kind of using them this season, kind of all three of them. So I run the ball here, but we'll see. We'll see Hard Knocks as well to see if that's kind of the direction they're heading as well. All right. Is that the only quote here by Frank Reich? I wanted something else by the man. Who's talking right here? Who is this? That's Wentz. What does Wentz have to say? Let me see what Wentz has to say about this. Let's read some Carson Wentz's quotes. What does he have? Is he big on himself for this game? Is he kind of hyping himself up, being like, yeah, I'm the best quarterback of all time? Let's see. After barely completing 50% of his passes and throwing 2 disastrous interceptions the week before, Wentz was able to put that behind him in Thursday night's stellar showing. Oh, congratulations, you did it on Thursday night at home against the Jets. Congrats. Once again, I'm not going to be over buying this Colts team. I mean, if we have to kind of put a new percent, I think we were buying this Colts team maybe like the 40% heading into this game, and after this game we're buying them 42%. I mean, we're not buying this Colts team that much more because you beat the Jets on Thursday night. I don't think that's right. You just lost 2 times to the Titans, your division rival. I mean, and last week, I mean, that was really to kind of keep pace in the division now, because now, I mean, you don't even have the tiebreaker against the Titans anymore, and now you're down big bad. What do we got here? Officially about 3 games behind. They got games behind? They don't got games behind here? Yeah, they're about like 3 games behind this Titans team for first place of the division. So you couldn't get it done last week when it was do or die. Carson Wentz, ball in his hands, interceptions, multiple chances in overtime, interception, not getting it done. Bailed out by the pass interference like we saw, so still not buying Carson Wentz, but let's read this quote. Back to the quote. Here we go. Quote, had no choice when you play a Thursday night game. I watched it that night and woke up Monday morning and it was on to the Jets. That's the same mindset I had and everybody else had. We know it was big, emotional loss last week, but we had to flush it quick and turn around. I'm happy with the way we came out today. I'm happy that I was able to rely on the rushing game and that they helped me flush out the bad game with a good game this game. I thank the running backs. I thank all 3 great running backs. Even though Marlon Mack didn't play last night, I still thank him, because if I'm the Jets, I'm still looking over to the sideline like, are they going to dress that man up at halftime? I'm still like, these other running backs are giving me nightmares. I want Marlon Mack out here. I'm begging. The Colts had the Jets begging for Marlon Mack to come into the game last night. All right, one more quote here by Carson Wentz. We'll see what this is all about. Here we go. The 78-yard score was the second longest run of the NFL season so far, with an 83-yard gallop by Taylor earlier in the year still tops the list. So Jonathan Taylor has the 2 highest single rushes in a game this season. 83-yarder, 78-yarder. This is a running football team, folks. This is not Carson Wentz's passing team. Quote here by Carson Wentz, quote, when I can turn around and have one-play drives, I think Jonathan Taylor took it 75 or something like that. Those are the best drives in football for a quarterback. Yes, absolutely. Carson Wentz should be begging for that. I don't want to throw this ball. I'll turn it over. Jonathan Taylor, just take it. 90 yards, please. You can just turn around and give it to the guy. Whatever the total number, 200-plus rushing yards today. Jonathan Taylor, both him and Nyheim Hines. Then some screens from the backfield, and those guys played unbelievable. Once again, sets up the screen game, makes it easy for Carson Wentz. Inflated numbers by Carson Wentz. What do we got here? Let's go back to the official numbers here. I want to subtract yards to running back. So 4 catches by Nyheim Hines for 34 yards. So now we're at, let's officially, I'm not just going to ballpark it. Let's bring up the calculator. 272 yards minus 34 for Nyheim Hines. Now we're at 238 on 18 completions of 26 attempts. Keep that in mind. 18 of 26 now, since we're subtracting the 4 catches by Nyheim Hines, and he had 6 targets. Oh, excuse me. So we have 18 completions on 28 attempts, because we have to add the 2 drops there. And then Jonathan Taylor, 2 catches for 28 yards. So we subtract 28 yards there. Now we're only at 210 yards on 16 of 26. So just taking running backs out of the game, folks, Carson Wentz went 16 of 26 for 210 yards. Still decent. What's 16 of 26? Completion percentage-wise, 61%. So you see he was at 70%, 70 plus, right? 70 plus, 22 of 30, 22 of 30. 73, and he drops all the way down to 61, not targeting running back. So the screen truly helps out. The running game truly helps out Carson Wentz. So I'm not saying, I'm not doing this as like, oh, Carson Wentz is trash and this Colts team is absolutely trash. I'm just putting the numbers a little bit more in perspective. Having to kind of utilize all of your receivers, if the running game was a little lackluster, would Carson Wentz be able to win this game single-handedly? We saw that last week. No, he can't. Running game, a little lackluster, not even 100 yards. He throws 2 interceptions, multiple chances in overtime into the fourth quarter, and he blows it. Bailed out by the penalties again. So still not buying this Colts team, folks. Still not buying them. So that was Thursday Night Football last night, folks. We are not buying the Colts. What's the reason to buy the Colts? Give me one reason. The running game, I agree. Yes. Run the ball. Defense, solid. Passing game, it's okay. So Jets lose 30-45. We'll see what they do with the quarterback, and we'll see what the Colts do with their offense moving forward. Run the ball. Whoever's calling plays over here with the Colts, run the freaking ball. Run it 30-plus times a game. You have 3 great running backs. All should be getting 10 carries. All of them. See what they can do. Colts win 45-10.